What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to give you a complete buyer's guide on how to buy a Bentley Continental. I'm going to go over with you guys all the differences in years, which models you should look for, which ones you should stay away from, and I'm also going to share with you guys all the maintenance and problems that these cars are known for. Give you all the questions to ask the seller when you're shopping for one, and give you a little bit of an insight as to what it takes to own one of these cars. In addition, I'm going to go over all the different features, what they offered in different years, so that you can make a decision on which Bentley fits you best. Now, the Bentley Continental has three different versions. You've got the GT, which is the coupe. You got the GTC, which is the convertible you see here, and then you've also got the Flying Spur. The Flying Spur is the four-door you see way over there. So in 2004, that's when they came out with the Continental GT Coupe. They came out with the GTC convertible 2007. That was the first year of the GTC. The Flying Spur debuted in 2006. When Bentley came out with the Continental in 2005, they gave it the W12 engine, not V12, W12, made 552 horsepower, and these cars had a top speed of 195 miles an hour. They were a luxury rocket ship. Still are. That's still the same engine that they use today in the W12s all the way up through 2018. Now, from 2005 to 2008, there really wasn't any changes made to the Bentley in any configuration, the GT, GTC, or the Flying Spur. They all had the same options, same body style. It's going to be the exact same car. 2009 to 2011, they came out with the Speed version, gave you 600 horsepower. They also updated the suspension, the steering, made the car a little bit better, made a little bit of a facelift on it. Now, in 2012, that was their first major restyling. The 2012 and up Bentleys, as you can see, have a much different front end, very much updated, new lights, all LED, very nice curves to the car. But the biggest changes that you're going to find are on the interior. They gave it a brand new infotainment system, and that really brought the car up to date on all the new electronics. Before that, it was very dated. You could get Sirius satellite radio as an option, and sometimes you got a backup camera, sometimes you didn't. The navigation was extremely old, but it was technology from the mid-2000s. So the 2012 and newer cars really have much improved electronics. And then in 2015, they came out with an even newer model. This one here is actually 2017. You're going to see that they changed the front end, the grille, the bumpers, gave it a little bit more of a facelift. I'm going to show you in the back, they changed the rear end as well. The inside's pretty much the same, very minor changes. But the biggest difference is in these 2012 and newer models, they came out with a V8 engine. And that 4.0 twin turbo V8, which is what you find in this V8S right here, that offering made these cars much more reliable, a little better fuel economy, and it made them easier to work on and repair, because a lot of these parts of these are actually interchangeable with a lot of other Audis. And from the rear, you can see the changes in the generations. This one's a little more rounded, a little more dated. You look at the 2012 and newer models, you can see the taillights are a little more sleek. They redesigned the trunk lid a little bit, gave it a little bit of a spoiler, redesigned the exhaust tips and the lower valence. But then when you come to the 2015 and newer model, you can see they really made some nice changes to the car. They came out with new sets of wheels, but the biggest difference and how you can spot what a 2015 or newer looks like is the B built in here into the fender. That they didn't have in any other year. Now, the most common problem that you're going to find on any generation of one of these Continentals is the air suspension. When there is a leak in the system or one of the struts has gone bad, the car will be sitting and you'll see it will actually lower to the ground. Now, sometimes when you start the car, it will air itself back up. However, once the car sits for a day or two, you'll see it'll start going down, favoring one side or the other, or even both. In that case, the struts have to be replaced. On these older ones, there are a lot of aftermarket ones available, some better than others, and they're usually a lot cheaper than getting them from the dealer. However, on the 2012 and newer models, they're a little more difficult to come by. They got to come from the dealer, and each one costs about $4,000. However, there are some people who can rebuild them. We do that service here, and it usually costs about half that price to get the original OEM struts rebuilt. It's not as common of an issue on the newer ones, but still something to look out for. The bushings wear out on the suspension pretty frequently, especially on the older ones. Ball joints, lower control arms, all those bushings go bad. And one of the ways you can identify that yourself is when you get in the car and you take it over some bumps, you'll hear some thumping from the front end, or you let your foot off the brake, let the car roll under its own power, and you tap the brake. And what that's going to do is, if the bushings are bad, you'll actually feel the front suspension shift in place. It's subtle, but it's something that I do on every Bentley I test drive just to make sure that all the bushings are good. Same goes for Jaguars, Range Rovers, BMWs, Mercedes. All the German cars have the similar design, especially the real heavy cars. The bushings tend to wear out pretty fast. Now, one of the most notorious problems that plagues all these W12 engines is the vacuum leaks. There are lots of little rubber hoses, vacuum lines that run all throughout the engine bay. Now, since there's such little room to work in this engine bay because the engine is so big, the Bentley dealer is going to tell you that the engine has to come out in order to fix these lines. Now, for the majority of the lines, that's not necessarily true. We figured out a way to change the lines without having to take the engine completely out, and it'll save you a ton of time and labor and money. Now, the next problem plagues every Bentley model. If I've seen it once, I've seen it 1,000 times, is the third brake light. Now, the third brake light on the GTCs is lined right here on the bottom of this panel. The seals go bad, and even on this one, as you can see, there is some moisture inside the light. Now, that is one entire LED strip, so as soon as one light bulb goes bad, unfortunately, you have to change the entire piece. It's a very common failure. Now, the next thing I'm about to tell you guys is probably going to surprise you, but every single Bentley GTC convertible needs a new convertible top. Depending on how much you use it, you may get 2 years of use out of it, you may get 5, you may get a little bit more, but unfortunately I have changed a lot of these tops. What happens is there is a bow system inside here that keeps the tension from side to side. When those bows wear out, they stretch. The canvas actually comes loose and starts shifting. And what you'll see is right here, you'll begin to see some wear. Once you see holes created in the top from the frame, that's when you know you're going to need a new top. The canvas itself can be changed. It runs about $5,000 to $8,000 depending on which color top you have. So when you're looking at a GTC, ask the seller, send you pictures of each corner. Make sure there's no wear, make sure there's no holes. Now, on the Flying Spurs and the coupes, the leather headliners are extremely heavy, and what happens is the adhesive tends to wear off over time and the headliner will actually start to drop. That's not as big of a job. That can be between $400 and $1,000 to bring the headliner back up, and any leather shop will be able to do that for you. Not the end of the world, but it's definitely something you want to inquire about when looking at one of these cars. Now, the next common problem is with the keys themselves. If you're looking at a car and you're out of state, you can't see it in person, ask to see a picture of the keys, because for some reason people tend to push really hard on these buttons, and the buttons will actually wear off, or they'll get ruined. They'll sink down into the key fob, making them impossible to use. Luckily, on my cars, all my keys are in excellent condition. You do not want to have to pay to replace one of these. Make sure you ask the seller how many keys the Bentley comes with, because unfortunately they are quite expensive. To get a set of keys from the dealer item only, usually comes in a pack of 2, will run you about $2,000 with programming. You don't want to have to incur that expense. So be sure to ask how many keys the car comes with. And the last thing I want to tell you about, it's not really a problem, but on the older Bentleys, 2006 up until 2011, is the Bluetooth compatibility. I have a lot of issues with pairing customers' iPhones or phones in general to the older model Bentleys. The Bluetooths are not compatible. So if Bluetooth compatibility, streaming music is really important for you, you definitely have to go with the 2012 or newer. Now, when you're going to ask yourself which Bentley is best for you, that's going to really depend heavily on your budget and your needs. Now, if $50,000 is your budget, you're going to stick with the Bentley 2006 to 2009 in any configuration you want, GTC, convertible, the coupe, or the Flying Spur. You can get really nice low mileage cars, 30, 40,000 mile cars for less than 50 grand. This Flying Spur right here is a little higher mileage. This one is 60,000 miles. It's priced right around 35,000. Really great budget-minded car. Now, if your budget's 75,000, that's when you're going to go a little bit newer. You're going to go 2012 to 2014 in any configuration. I've sold quite a few 2012 to 2014 Bentleys in the $60,000 to $75,000 range. That's a really great bang for your buck. This is a little newer. This is a GTC. This one is just under $100,000. If $100,000 is your budget, you're going to go 2013, 14, or 15 even on any of them. W12s, V8s, they're all great cars. And if you can afford up to $150,000, I'm going to tell you, you have to go with the 2017 or newer. These cars drive phenomenally well. This one is the V8S. Now again, the V8S has the 520 horsepower 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that you find in the RS7. This car is a rocket ship. The benefit to the S is that it's a refined suspension. This is going to give it a much more sporty ride as opposed to the W12s that have a little more of that soft luxury feel Bentleys are known for. If you're looking for a sports car, I am in love with the V8S. Now, if you're buying the 2012 or newer Bentley, you should never, ever, under any circumstances, buy one that does not have the Mulliner package. Mulliner package gives you the brighter, as you can see on this one, the brighter chrome grille upper and lower, but it gives you a 21-inch wheel. This is a two-piece polished wheel. It really sets the car apart. More importantly is the interior. The interior on a Mulliner package will have the Bentley logo encrusted in the headrest, and it will also have these beautiful diamond stitched seats. This is a staple. This is a must. It gives the car such an elegant look and a very classy feel. You cannot get a Bentley without this interior. They carry it over here to the door panels too. You get a couple of nice interior upgrades as well with the Mulliner package. They give you a really nice shift knob. They give you the drilled slotted pedals. All these finishing touches on the interior really make the car classy. It brings it to a whole nother level. Now, the Mulliner package is something that costs between $9,000 and $13,000 to the original MSRP. Now, buying the car pre-owned, that's not a cost you're going to incur because of depreciation. A Mulliner package on a car may only be an extra couple of thousand. Now, outside of the problems that I told you guys about, these cars are extremely reliable. I've only had to change 2 engines on maybe the hundreds of Bentleys that we've serviced. Number one, the customer tried to see if the car would float. He put it through a very, very deep puddle, causing the engine to hydrolock. Insurance paid that claim with a brand new motor from Germany. It was about $50,000 motor. And yeah, you don't want to take your Bentley swimming. And the other engine we had to replace was just due to neglect. The engine was sludged because the customer drove it 20,000 miles without an oil change. So make sure you have the maintenance records on your Bentley so you don't sludge the motor. Now, people do ask me all the time, what is the maintenance like on one of these Bentleys? Now, the only thing you have to do routinely is you have to change your oil once a year. Obviously, you do a synthetic oil service, and that doesn't have to be done at the Bentley dealer. You really should get that done at an independent mechanic who's known for German car, Audi, BMW. Anyone who's experienced in those types of cars can work on one of these. Doing a full service ranges between $300 to $500 for an oil change. You have to do that once a year, or probably every 10 to 12,000 miles. Other than that, normal maintenance: brakes, tires, spark plugs, anything you'd expect to do on a regular car. That's exactly what these are. These are just very fancy Audis. Now, we do offer extended warranties for these cars, and that is absolutely something you should consider when buying one of these Bentleys of any generation. Now, a 2-year warranty will average about $7,000. However, that could pay out huge if you have a problem. Now, I'll give you an example. I had a customer with a Flying Spur, and the alternator went bad. Covered by the warranty, they paid out $5,000 parts and labor for a new alternator. Now, tell me that warranty doesn't pay for itself. And if you are considering a warranty, always do your research on the company that it's from. If you're buying it from a dealer, always ask, where can I bring the car for the warranty? If you're getting the warranty from the Bentley dealer, chances are you can only get the warranty work done at the dealer. However, if you buy it from an independent, chances are you can take that car anywhere for warranty work, and that's what you're looking for. People get skeptical buying extended warranties because there's all these horror stories that you hear of warranties that don't cover certain items. But if you're buying from a reputable dealer, always do your research, ask the right questions. You can save yourself a lot of headaches and a lot of money too. Now when you get to the point of deciding whether you should go with a V8 or the W12 engine, that's personal preference. I prefer the V8S because it's a much more sporty feel. They also redesigned the suspension, so the car handles phenomenally well. It really is a sports car. When you get just the base with the W12 engine, that car rides a little softer. It's more of that luxurious feel that you would expect from Bentley. I hope you guys found this video very informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.